My boy. "It will be okay, honey. They won't find you here," said Sarah to her son. She prayed that her words would be true, but given the circumstances, her prayers weren't likely to be answered. Hidden in the crevice underneath a bridge, their pursuers would probably assume they had kept running. Sarah was hoping her words would bring some kind of comfort to her son, but she knew that her appearance did just the opposite. She had tripped and fallen earlier, while being pursued, so the left side of her face was scratched up and bleeding. Her shirt, that was usually red, was now covered with a thick brown in random muddy blotches. These were the least of her concerns. Sarah looked at her cell phone once again and saw the same thing on it she had seen for hours. Tuesday, July 16. No signal. "I need to go find a car, and you need to wait here for me, okay? Okay?" said Sarah as she trembled. Without realizing it, she was grabbing her son's arm tight enough to leave a bruise, but he was nice enough not to complain about it. Sarah's son hadn't taken his eyes off his mother for some time now, but conjuring words that would be appropriate for the situation was a far more difficult task. But given that his mother was trying to run off into the dangers that awaited them by herself, he was able to muster the words, "Mom, we shouldn't separate. You need me to protect you. This is all my fault. I have to protect you." "Sweetie, this isn't your fault. Those people, they just don't accept that you're different. And that's their problem, not yours. Remember how Nana says how special you are? She knew a day like this would come. But we weren't prepared enough. She knew of the ignorance of the world." They had been on foot all night, but the sun was coming up now. Sarah was happy to see it. The adrenaline coursing through her bloodstream is what kept her going all night. So she felt the sun would give her the shot of energy she needed to do what she needed to. Sarah pulled her gun out of the back of her jeans, knowing it was out of bullets, but hoping it could be used to at least intimidate anyone who might come after her. She made it up to the road, and began walking while her son sat hunched over in the crevice underneath the bridge, wondering if his mother would make it back alive. She wouldn't. Peter sat hunched over a bench in the back patio of the church. The Last Judgment of Christ. With a Newport resting between his two fingers, he took a long drag of his cigarette before sipping the Bud Light he held with the same hand. The day was July 16, and it was the worst day of the year to be Peter Hoyt. Pastor Raymond Jessup sat next to Peter while having his evening glass of Jameson. The sun was setting, and the two men were having one of their usual debates. "Now that I think about it, an old shit like you would say Chinatown. Jack Nicholson is a badass, don't get me wrong, but that movie is boring as hell. I fell asleep twice watching that shit. Not to mention it's kind of fucked up. I'll give it this, though. It has a wicked irony to it. A fucking movie about a rich pedophile who gets away with it, made by a fucking rich pedophile who gets away with it. Now that is some shit. But I guess the movie had it worse than reality, with the incest and all. What kind of sick fuck do you have to be to even get it up for your own daughter? And your granddaughter, too." Peter shakes his head, then continues. "Anyway, my pick is The Dark Knight." "My boy, this is still God's house, even if we're only on the patio, so watch the language," said Pastor Jessup, wagging a finger at Peter. He continued, "I've never seen your movie. Isn't it a Batman film?" "Yeah," Peter said, before hitting his cigarette. "And it's the best fucking movie ever made. 4-quadrant to perfection. Young, old, man, woman, it doesn't matter. Anyone can enjoy that shit. Not to mention that Heath Ledger killed it as the Joker. I hate going to the fucking movies. Too many people, and my anxiety kicks in. But when that shit came out,
My girl Shayna wouldn't shut up about it, so we went to see it. Blown away.
Oh, well, we'll have to watch it sometime. I keep hearing people in the church around your age going on about that film. I'd hate to think I'm getting old, you know. I don't want to feel like I'm out of touch.
Nah, I can't watch that shit anymore. I'd be thinking about Shay too much. We would actually watch it every year, July 16. So I wouldn't spend all day depressed and shit thinking about what happened to my mom, you know? It became somewhat of a tradition for us. A tradition of distraction, so I wouldn't think of how much I hate this day. Shay was always good to me, but I didn't appreciate those times while I was living them. Maybe I wasn't good enough for her. Maybe she would have had a life if it weren't for me. Her dad thought so. One of these days I'll have to tell you about the crazy shit he pulled on me when I was younger.
Since you've been staying at the church, I do believe this is the first time you've mentioned Shayna without being directly asked about her first. You should keep up the tradition, my boy. The ones we've lost watch over us. They want to be remembered, not forgotten.
Seriously? I'm just saying. Fucking seriously, Ray? Tomorrow makes a year and I'm still waiting for goddamn cops to come get me for murder. If I'm to keep up tradition, shouldn't I drown a woman and a baby in a fucking bathtub too? Shouldn't I? This place right here. This is all I have now. I killed my wife, I killed my boy, and for what? Blind faith. Shay wanted to shoot up for once, and I trusted her without question. I could have questioned her. I could have stood firm that it was a bad idea. But hey, while they were taking their last breaths, while Foster was probably crying for his daddy to come and save him, I was in the bedroom watching The Dark Knight, keeping up tradition.
Pete, cut it out. You've come so far, and I'd hate to see you fall back into this. You must have faith, my boy. God tests us all, and we must rise to the occasion. I'm sure you think that is BS, but it's the truth. He has tested me plenty in the past, and I thought it'd be too much for me to handle. I lost so much of what was important to me during the war, but I made it through. Today, God has presented me with an even greater task, and I'm not sure I'll be able to handle it, but I must try and keep my faith, said Pastor Jessup, before resting his hand on Peter's forearm. Let me help you, Pete. The Last Judgment of Christ was a church established in 1994 by Pastor Raymond Jessup. Pastor Jessup started the church as a way to give back to the world, which he felt was suffering due to the presence of Satan on earth, and the willingness of the masses to follow him and his wicked ways. Coming from immensely wealthy parents who were long dead and left everything to their only son, Pastor Jessup established the church entirely by himself. The Last Judgment of Christ would fund food drives, mission trips, housing projects, and after-school programs. It was loved by many and inspired others to make the world a better place too, including lost young men with nowhere else to turn. Pastor Jessup built housing barracks that connected to the church, giving those individuals with nowhere else to turn a place to stay. They could dedicate themselves to the church, so that their lives could have the same purpose and direction that Pastor Jessup was able to find years ago. Peter was one of those people. Men like us can never erase the past. The only hope is to bury it under enough redemption no matter the cost. Peter, there's evil in this world. I know I've seen it. You know I've seen it too. But this is different, my boy. You've been such a blessing to me in the church too, but to me especially. I trust you more than anyone, and that's why I'm about to trust you with this. Can you help me with a special mission?
Fuck, you sound like you're losing it. How much of that whiskey have you had?
Listen to me. What if I told you the Antichrist has been born alive and in this world. Would you believe me?